Am I the asshole for telling my daughter I won't budge even if she never speaks to me again? My daughter Casey, 17F, worked and saved up money for around a year to be able to afford a better car than we could buy her with our family budget. My other daughter Alana, 16F, has ADHD, recently got her driver's license, and asked to drive Casey's car. Casey allowed it, but Alana ended up having a bad accident around 6 months ago which basically rendered the car unusable. The insurance payout wasn't nearly enough to cover the replacement, and with Alana's medical bills from the accident, thankfully there was no permanent damage, just a broken arm and leg. There was no way we could afford to replace Casey's car immediately. Alana was very apologetic to Casey, and so were we since we couldn't afford to replace her car. Casey didn't accept our apology, and has been basically avoiding us, skipping family dinners, and pretty much pretending that her mom, Alana, and I don't exist and only talks to us if she needs a form signed for her school. I begged her to come to a family therapy session, and she eventually relented but with the condition that Alana wouldn't be present. In the therapy session, she told us that she won't be resuming a relationship with us until we replace her car, which realistically won't be until next year. When the therapist asked how she expected us to do that, Casey said we could just make Alana work to earn the money. The issue is that Alana has severe ADHD, and already has trouble managing her school work. I'm worried that making her work to earn the money will harm her grades and have significant ramifications for her future. Casey said, well, she should have thought about that before destroying my car. I don't care. I'm not gonna speak to any of you unless I have my car replaced. I responded that she was free to avoid speaking to me for as long as she wanted to, but I'm not going to permanently harm her sister's future to get her a car earlier. My wife agrees with me that we need to stand firm on our position, but is also genuinely afraid of Casey never speaking to her ever again. I understand that her car was ruined, but as a parent I need to look out for all my children, not just one. I also don't want to set the precedent that emotional blackmail will work even if what you're asking for is unreasonable. Am I the asshole?
My wife, 35F, had a mental breakdown while pregnant and aborted our baby. She regrets the decision and wants another child. How should I, 34M, navigate this? Throwaway account for obvious reasons, and I'm sorry about the long post, but I really need a vent. Me, 34M, and my wife, 35F, have been together for 8 years. 3 years ago, we had a son who is a wild teenager, but the love of our lives. About a year ago, we made a mutual decision that it was time to try for a second child. She finally got pregnant in October last year, and we were both happy and excited. She took several pregnancy tests a day. We started looking at houses, talked about names for the baby, and planned our future together. My wife started acting weird a few weeks into the first trimester. She was a completely different person, staying in bed all day looking at her phone, hardly eating, and was apathetic, ignoring our son when he wanted attention, which was very out of character. She said that she was unsure about the pregnancy. I told her it was probably just hormones. She was very anxious while pregnant with our first on, so I didn't think too much about it. A few days later, things escalated. I came home and everything was suddenly wrong. She told me that I worked too much and that I should quit my job. She hated our apartment and the city we live in and wanted to move back to her hometown so she could be closer to her mother. Nothing was good enough. Also, she was determined to have an abortion. She became furious when I didn't agree to her demands, and we had a huge argument where we both broke down crying. I told her that we planned this pregnancy, that she didn't really want an abortion, and that the hormones were just messing with her head, but that just made things even worse. We had nasty arguments over the next few days where we both said things we now regret. We hardly spoke for a few days. I had a mental crisis but managed to collect my thoughts while making sure our son didn't get affected by the situation. I sat down with my wife and told her that I would never agree or approve, but I would support her if she was sure about her decision to have an abortion. I also managed to convince her to go to therapy and talk to our GP. They were sadly both pushovers. My wife owned words and basically just told my wife to do what was best for herself. Long story short, my wife didn't get better over the next few weeks. She was constantly on her phone, texting her friends and mother, who all thought I was a manipulative monster for trying to stop the abortion. She said extremely hurtful things like that she couldn't believe anything I said because I was just manipulating her, and that she planned on moving back to her mother with our son and saw no reason not to. Meanwhile, I was trying to shield our son and did all the housework while simultaneously trying to manage my job. I didn't recognize my wife and it felt like I was living with a different person. The day of the abortion came and I drove her to the hospital and waited during the procedure. I could tell my wife was back to her old self as soon as I saw her after the operation. She was crying in recovery but didn't say much. She broke down when we got home and screamed, my baby," while crying hysterically and clenching her stomach. She cried all night, and the next day she said that I was right all along, as she now understood how sick she was, that I was the only person who saw it for what it really was and that I was only trying to help. She felt as if another person controlled her body and mind, and it was like waking up from a nightmare. Almost 4 months have passed after the abortion, and my wife got fired from her job due to sick leave. She stays at home all day, lying in bed or on the couch listening to audiobooks. I do most of the housework and take care of our son while working full-time, which has been exhausting. My wife has been going to a psychiatrist who said that she was probably psychotic and her feelings now are the same as a woman who were forced to have an abortion. She has also been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. She says that she feels broken and the only thing that can make her whole again is becoming pregnant and having another child. I have a hard time trusting my wife, and I'm very worried that the same thing can happen again. I feel like I can't blame her for the abortion because she was sick, but I'm so disappointed and sad about the situation. All of her friends have apologized to me, but my mother-in-law has said nothing, causing my wife to break contact with her. I feel like my wife is not mentally ready for another pregnancy, that I don't trust her like before, and that our support network from her family is virtually non-existent. My father also died a few weeks ago. He was sick for a very long time, and his death was not a surprise, but has still affected me tremendously. I feel overwhelmed with my father's death, my wife being depressed and unemployed while I'm trying to manage my job, taking care of the housework and keeping our son fed, clean, and happy. Today I told my wife that I was on the breaking point and didn't feel mentally ready to try for another child and wanted to wait. She freaked out and started crying, saying that she is extremely disappointed, that she lost all motivation in her life, and that she feels like she lost her one chance of having a second child. I feel so empty and sad. Everything was good a few months ago. My wife was happy. We were expanding our family, and my father was alive. Any ideas on how I should navigate this? TLDR. Wife had a mental breakdown and aborted our planned pregnancy. She regrets the decision and wants another child, but I don't think neither of us are ready. My wife 30F locked me 33M out of the master bedroom. How should I feel about it and make peace? We've been married for 3 years. Before the above happened, that evening I was in a bit of an irate mood that I had to wait for an hour outside her work to pick her up. I was tired from work and tired sitting out in the sun. That's one of the days we carpool so that we can work out together. When she returned to the car, I was a little heat exhausted, and when she explained something important had come up and she had to stay late. I understood and told her it's okay, can we not work out and go home instead? On the drive home, she asked me what do I want for a snack. I told her she could make anything she pleases and I'll eat it. I didn't care for it. She got annoyed telling me why I'm showing all this attitude. I told her I'm tired and I'm fine with anything. When we get home and I'm in the kitchen, I see she's annoyed now. I told her that I'm allowed to be tired and irate for my own reasons. Usually I just keep to myself, and after a while I forget everything. This has happened in the past, especially last week when I had a cold. I was visibly grumpy about it, but I didn't let that bother the usual turn of events at home. I get the impression from her that I should always have a happy face even when I'm not feeling well. She starts giving me one-word answers and shrugs me off. I go to the den and watch a show by myself and fall asleep. When I wake up around 8:30 p.m., she had turned off all the lights in the kitchen and gone to bed and started the dishwasher. I was hungry, so I reheated something from the fridge and ate it. Now she comes back from her supposed sleep. She goes to sleep early and is now very annoyed that I ate myself without making pizza for her. I usually make pizzas that day of the week. I told her there's food in the fridge and she could have that. If she was still hell-bent on the pizza, I could make that for her. I told her she could woken me up from my sleep and I would have made her the pizza. I told her that when we argue, we don't stop doing the usual things we do for each other. She just gave me some stares and made some rude comments and went back to bed. After I'm done eating, I immediately get up thinking that this is such a stupid argument and go upstairs to make peace. At this point, I realize she's locked the master bed. I knocked multiple times and turned the lock. She didn't respond. After 2 minutes, I stopped and went back to sleep in the loft. We've never locked any rooms inside the house before. She didn't care that I had to wake up the next morning for a meeting. My toiletries were all inside the master bath. This happened the day before yesterday. We haven't spoken to each other. I'm really annoyed and don't know how to feel about it. Edit. I understand my behavior could be better with respect to my mood. I will be working on it. I had a calm conversation with the wife and apologized. We mutually agreed that locking each other out is completely unacceptable. She apologized as well. We won't be carpooling anymore. We both agree our communication needs to be better. We have improved on a lot of things in our relationship over the last few years, and this aspect of communications needs more work. I don't get angry a lot, but yes, my annoyance is manifested through a bad mood. I try to avoid confrontation and reduce conflicts by keeping quiet and taking my time to cool down. I understand it isn't fair on my wife, and I'm working on managing this better.
My 23F, fiance, 30M, broke up with me over text because I got an oil change. My fiancé broke up with me over text because I got an oil change. He has blocked me on everything. Advice. My 23F, fiancé, 31M, broke up with me over text because I got an oil change and has ghosted me. Me and my fiancé have been together for almost 8 years, living together for 5 of them. The past year we both took jobs out of town during the week to be more financially secure. He's supposed to come home every week, but instead stays at work for months on end. My truck was well overdue for an oil change, like 4 km overdue, I know bad. So I literally had to get an oil change that weekend so I could drive to work on the Monday. His best friend is a mechanic and helps him work on stuff all the time, so I asked his friend if he could do it for me, and he did it no problem, didn't charge me. I dropped off my truck at his shop and walked over to my mom's down the road to wait, then picked up my truck afterwards. A couple hours after I got home after the oil change, my fiancé calls me to let me know he's on his way home, surprise. He doesn't communicate with me at all, for the weekend. I was thinking, oh perfect, now he won't have to do my oil change when he gets home from his 14 hours drive. I saved him some work and I could spend more time with him. Thought I did a good thing. Oh boy, was I wrong. Well, I left for work on Monday evening and everything was great. We had a great weekend together, went for breakfast that morning, he helped me build signs for our wedding and expressed how excited he was for it. We're supposed to get married June 8th. Yesterday everything went up in flames. He calls me at work absolutely ragging, calling me every name in the book, was saying how dare you cheat on me with my best friend. I was completely lost, like what? I never did, nor would I never cheat on him. I literally just got my oil changed on my truck, that's it. He continues to call me repeatedly to yell me, says we're over and that there's no coming back from this. Blocked me on Facebook and Snapchat, changed his relationship status to single and deleted every photo of me off Facebook like I never existed. He has unblocked me in the middle of the night multiple times to say, if you, then blocks me again. I explained to him that I never cheated, nor would I ever. I talked to his friend and he said he just told him about the oil change and he was fine when he left his place yesterday. I'm so lost and confused on what to do. I'm currently 5 hours away from home at my job. I don't know if I should leave now and deal with this or give him a couple days to cool off and realize his mistake. He said that he took all my stuff out of the house. Don't know how that's possible, as literally everything is mine but the TV and mattress, including the fridge and washer and dryer, heaters act, and put in the front yard. I don't know if he actually did or is all talk. Has also threatened to hurt my 2 cats too. He does have some mental health issues, so that may be contributing to all of this. Any advice would be appreciated. I can't believe I lost an 8-year relationship because I got an oil change. If I would have known, I would have just let it go for another week and gotten him to do it. TLDR, my fiancé broke up with me because I got his friend to change my oil on my truck so he wouldn't have to. He took that as me cheating on me. He has blocked me on everything and said he threw all my stuff out onto the yard. I'm 5 hours away at work. Update 1. This afternoon his mom talked to him over the phone, said she could hear him talking to my cats. They should be fine. He also told her that he's been sitting on the couch all day, the one he told me he threw outside, so I doubt he threw anything outside. 2. I shut off my phone for a couple hours before it was just getting too much. I just turned it on and he unblocked me on everything and has been calling for hours on my phone, Facebook, and Snap. Texted me telling him to call him back, that it's urgent. I'm not going to tonight. I'm writing this update, then putting my phone on D&D. Edit, since everyone is asking, I was 16, he was 23 when we got together. We've been together more so 7.5 years, but I rounded up.
Wife 20 threw mime 23, pee and broke it in a fit. Things suck, but we have a child under 1 year. Is there a way that I can correct or manage this? Is it best to stay or leave? And if so, how? Last night my wife came after we all told her it was a scam and she didn't listen. But I am trying to calm her down in that moment by answering anything I can and telling her we will figure this out. But quitting is not an option. It is a sales job, and she then tells me to demand Saturday off for my job. My first day is today. This occurred yesterday. I asked for $25/her and they gave it to me. Tells me her job is more important and it's her turn, and then stood there for 30 minutes demanding me to quit or tell my boss I need Saturday or she's done with me and done running circles with me. Fast forward 30 minutes of this and her unrelenting. She shoves my pig off my desk across the room. Raking, of course. Later that night, as I'm trying to fix it, I say a part has power, and she tells me that she's actually upset to hear that it still works. It doesn't work anymore. This is bigger than the computer. Honestly, I hate my life, I hate my wife, I hate my situation. But I have a daughter that I love with every ounce I can, and I know her mom is gonna help her milk every dollar of child support they can from me. And truthfully, I just am scared of life after that process. I just want what's best for our daughter, but it seems like every choice that is made by her is not in the best interest. I'm fully aware that all of this could just be a me stupid mind thing, and if so, please tell me what I'm reading wrong. I'm so done and so lost. I appreciate every single one of you and your help. This has and is still helping me more than you can believe. Asterisk, asterisk, get it, edit. I must have made math seem funky in this. My wife was 18 when I met her and I was 20. It's been a short amount of time altogether. Since about summer 2021, we have known each other. Feels longer, sorry.